Hello again, fellow BeachBum traders. We hope that you had a great trading week last week. We hope that you found our weekly game plan from last week helpful to you in your trading. Please let us know if you found our weekly game plan from last week helpful to you in the comments below. And please let us know how your trading went this week. Good or bad, what did you learn? How can we improve our weekly game plans to help you succeed in your trading? Now let's get started preparing our game plan for next week. So let's start our BeachBum trading weekly game plan for the trading week of August 16th through August 20th. Let's start in finviz.com, for which you'll find our link included in the description box below. Let's quickly take a look at where each of the exchanges ended on Friday, August 13th. We can see all of the indexes were pretty much flat all day, started up, went flat, and then there was a spike at the end of the day, so they all closed just a little up. Those spikes at the end of the day are not atypical, and I've been told that is often the market makers rebalancing their books at the end of the day, so you will often see a reversal of some type, up or down, in the last 15 to 5 minutes of the day, not only in the indices but in individual stocks. And again, I've been told that that's market makers rebalancing their books, so again, not atypical. But the trend seemed to be pretty much flat. Seems like all of the indexes are kind of topping out. We'll look at both the Dow and the Nasdaq and the SPY in a minute. Scrolling down a little bit, we can see some of the top gainers and losers. I know SCN Bio was heavily traded, popular stock. Not something that we're chasing around right now, but I know it is popular. If we look at some of the multiple bottoms, if you're new to our channel, the BeachBum Trading channel, part of our strategy is we're primarily swing traders, and we're primarily looking for stocks that are trading near a support level or a bottom and trending upward. And those are typically the stocks we're looking at buying for the next week. We do use fundamental analysis, technical analysis, thematic events, etc. To make our watch list up for the week. And then when things cross the VWAP bottom, cross the VWAP, or support bounce off a support level, that's when we make a buying decision. We can see some of the headline news. There's some discussion of the Delta variant again becoming a concern. Hopefully you all also heard or saw that the consumer confidence index came out on Friday, and it was really bad. It was a decade low consumer confidence. We kind of expected that to have more of an impact on the market in a downward direction, more volatility. Market really didn't flinch much. However, we do kind of expect, as that sinks in, that negative consumer confidence may have a more negative impact on the markets. If we look quickly at the futures, we can see the Dow futures pointing down a little bit. S&P and Nasdaq are pointing up a little bit. Treasuries, the yields came down, prices went up. Next we'll look at the futures, but just to briefly look in more detail at the Nasdaq and the S&P, and to let you all know that when that consumer confidence came out and we got a little bit of a negative trend on the S&P and the Dow, we did take a short position on the Dow. The leveraged ETF to short the Dow is called SDOW, SDOW. And again, we are now long SDOW, indicating a short position on the Dow. We're guessing the Dow ran up. We'll see in the futures. Several days last week seemed to top, and we're betting on an eventual correction in the Dow. So when the Dow goes down, SDOW goes up, and we'll profit from any correction there. We also have an existing long position at SPXU, which is the short position on the SPY. We'll quickly take a look at the SPY. And again, we're betting on an eventual correction on the SPY, as we believe it's kind of topping out, and any correction would be profitable in a long position for SPXU. We are looking at the Nasdaq. We do not have a short position there yet. However, it does look like it's topping, and we will be looking at taking a long position in SQQQ, which again is the leveraged ETF to short the QQQ or the Nasdaq index. We will be watching that this week. When the SQQQ bottoms, turns up, or QQQ tops, turns down, we will go long SQQQ. Okay, let's take a quick look at the futures. We're on the futures tab of finviz.com. Click futures, click charts. We can see that the Dow, it looks like it kind of topped, did a little bit of a shooting star. Again, we are now long the SDOW, which is a short on the Dow index. So we will profit on any correction of the Dow. S&P ran up nicely for several days. Again, we've had a position in SPXU shorting the SPY index. Eventually, if that corrects, that will be profitable in SPXU. The Nasdaq has been very flat, choppy lately. We're watching the Nasdaq or QQQ for a top, and in which case we will go long SQQQ, betting on an eventual correction, downturn in the Nasdaq. We can see, boy, the European stock market's been on a run. I don't know what the ETF is to long or short the European stock market right now, but it's something I need to figure out. I'm guessing that Europe is trailing us in recovery, and therefore we're seeing that big run up in the European stocks. We can see the Russell still sitting in no man's land, had kind of a rough day on Friday. Small caps got hit. We have no position long or short in the Russell right now. However, again, when that bad consumer price or consumer confidence number came out on Friday, there was a very short blip in the VIX. It bottomed, appeared to bottom and spike up just very briefly. Therefore, we took a long position in UVXY, which is a long position betting on the volatility to increase. It's a leveraged ETF. Again, we're betting at some point either the consumer confidence, concerns over Delta, the upcoming Fed Jackson Hole meeting, which is August 26th through 28th. Something will cause an increase in volatility, and we will then be profitable in UVXY. Oil and gas turned down a bit. We have no position in oil or gas right now. Gold and silver finally are starting to bounce and make a recovery. We've been long. The gold leveraged ETF is GLDI. We are long GLDI. We're hoping for a nice run up through the end of August, something Jim Cramer has talked about in one of his recent shows. That would be nice. Again, we're long GLDI, which pays a nice monthly dividend. Ex-dividend date's in August 19th, so we're going to hold that at least through then and probably through the end of August. We also have a long position in silver, SVLO. Silver seems to tend to lag a little bit behind gold, but it's making a nice recovery right now, and hopefully that will continue. Quite a few of the agricultural products seem to be running up. Not sure why. I'm not sure if they're predicting a drought or some other concern, but we can see oats, wheat, etc., cocoa are all running up. We have no position in any of those ag products. Lumber's trailing down. We can see bonds. On Friday, the prices all turned up, yields turned down. We currently don't have a position. However, if the yields continue to trend down and bottom, we will be looking at taking a long position in TMV, which is the long on the yields of bonds. Let's take a quick look at the sectors within the S&P and see how they ended up on Friday the 13th. We can see consumer staples, utilities were top performers. Energy and financials were down. Again, it seemed like I believe energy may have been up on Thursday, down on Friday. Seemed like sector rotation. For the week, we can see that materials and consumer staples and utilities top performers. Again, seems like a rotation into more defensive stocks, maybe a concern again over lockdown potential, Delta concerns, etc. So again, seems like a sector rotation is occurring. Let's take a quick look at the Markets tab in Webull. Again, you can find a link to Webull, which is a platform we use a lot, in the description box below. If we look at the Markets tab, we can see the various exchanges. We can see overall more decliners than advancers. We look at a few of the top gainers after hours on Friday the 13th. Look for any kind of trends, themes. Don't see anything that jumps out at me. If we look at the top losers from after hours, again we see SESN. Again, I don't see a strong trend or theme in the gainers or losers from after hours Friday. If we look at the best performing industries from Friday, we can see transports, food and tobacco, pharmaceuticals, water. I noticed this food and tobacco sector pop up on Friday, which again indicates there may be a trend towards the lockdown, or people are betting we might have more people staying at home, buying packaged foods. At one point, the streamers, Netflix, Disney, etc., that might have been triggered by Disney's earnings, but that seemed to be trending up as well. So again, there seems to be some feel that we might be more staying at home. Again, concerns about the Delta. So you might want to look at stocks in some of the lockdown themes. Again, your packaged food, streaming services, which had been downtrending when the reopening theme was in play. So we may be seeing a rotation in that area. If we quickly look at the screener tab in Webull and look at the hottest after hours stocks from Friday, again we could see some of the energy, EV related, Bitcoin. Some of the Bitcoin ones were hot. 3D printers were hot on Thursday, had a little bit down on Friday, might be turning. Grow generation we are watching now because it irrationally dumped on earnings. We like that as a future cannabis play. We're looking for it to bottom and turn back up. Not sure where that bottom is because it fell through its recent support, but we will be watching GRWG Grow Generation for an opportunity to buy. Again, the downs, we see SESN. XSPA is a COVID testing, and it tends to be volatile, jumps up and down. Uranium, it's been up and down lately. I like uranium plays. If they do come down again to support, there's several we're looking at. UUUU and DNN are uranium plays. They seem to be pulled down with energy, but I think the energy downturn is more oil related, and I think uranium is a good cyclical play. So we'll be watching that going forward. Now let's quickly look at ARK Invest daily trade information from Friday, August 13th. Here's the email notification that we receive. If you would like to receive these email notifications of ARK Invest daily trade information, you don't know how, we have made a video for that, and you can see it within our ARK Invest playlist. And it will tell you how you can subscribe and get the daily trades and find additional information about what Kathy Wood and ARK Invest is investing in right now. And again, this comes out every day, 6 or 7 p.m. usually, and you can see what ARK bought and sold that day. Kind of get a feeling for, okay, well, what do they feel? What are they supporting right now? So if we quickly whip through that, we can see they have been buying Palantir since the earnings. Kathy ARK has been buying Palantir. They had good forward guidance, getting more contracts. We currently do not have a position in Palantir right now. I'd kind of like to see it come down before I buy it again, but it was positive news. They've been buying it heavily the past couple days. Let's see what else. Woozy, we were watching Woozy. We'll take a look at it. They had bad earnings. Their sales were below expectation. It dropped. ARK has been buying it up since then again. They bought Woozy over time. It is approaching a support level. I'd like to see how it does. Again, the guidance was suboptimal. So we'll see how it does. The other AR/VR plays in this sector, Imagine, E-Man, they turned down as well. Copen, KOPN, turned down as well. So the sentiment does not seem real great right now for the AR/VR plays, and they tend to be very sympathetic. They move up and down together. If one has good news, then the others will tend to follow. So we're not probably not going to watch Woozy right now, but it is it's a theme, an industry I'm particularly interested in. I think it has a long-term future. However, we're trying to make money, right? So we're looking for things to bottom and turn up, and we're going to make money on them when they do. So that's all I see offhand as any strong trends right now from Friday's ARK Invest buys and sells. Again, if you want to get this information, please see our video playlist on how you can subscribe and get the daily trade information from ARK Invest. We hope this all helps. Now I will briefly share with you how I use the screener function of FinViz to screen for some stocks that I might want to add to the watch list for this week. You start by selecting the screener tab on FinViz, again, for which you can find our link in the description box below, and it will display a wide variety of criteria that you can set to filter stocks that you want to look at by the description, industry, index, exchange, etc., some fundamental variables, price to earnings, price to cash, etc., and technical earnings or technical indicators, volatility, performance, etc. In a moment I will show you I have several URLs stored that directly map to the screener results that I use for my daily screening of watch lists using FinViz. As I mentioned, I have the URLs to several screeners in FinViz that I use on pretty much a daily basis to screen for stocks that I might want to add in my watch list, and I just save those URLs off somewhere. In this case it's in a spreadsheet. I just copy the URL, paste it into a browser, and it will take me directly to the FinViz screening page with the criteria already set for the particular screener that I'm using. We'll look at 3 screeners. These are the ones I use, like I said, pretty much every day. Greater than or equal to 90% below their 52-week high, down 75% for the year, and within 0 to 3% above their 52-week low. So if we quickly look, and you can see here's where that criteria, that technical criteria is set in the 52-week high-low. It's 90% or more below the 52-week high, and you can change that, adjust that percentage to meet your style of trading or your particular needs. And then all I do is I scroll through these various symbols, see if there's anything of particular interest. Here's DTST. This is one I know there's a number of other traders that have been interested in. We can see it's kind of downtrending a little bit. I'd get interested in it around 375. Not something I'm going to add to the watch list right now, but again, I'm kind of watching it for it to reach around the 375 area. Again, I just scan through them and quickly look at their charts, which you can see you get a great little quick preview here. See anything that's interesting, go to the next page. You can see the industries, you can see their PE ratios, that's helpful as well. Here's one, and you'll notice some of these, we're looking at things that are 90% or below their high, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily down near a support or a bottom if they had spiked very high at some point. So you look at the preview really quickly and say, okay, that's not one that's bottoming or approaching a support. Here we can see the UVXY that we mentioned earlier. We took a long position in. You can see the little green bar at the end. Looks like it may have bottomed and turned up. This is a long on the, it's a leveraged ETF, long on volatility. So again, that's something we already have a long position in. Okay, and that's the end of that screener. So then I just go and I copy paste my next URL, which I've already loaded in another tab. We can see this is the yearly performance down 75%. So again, we just scroll through these, see if we see anything interesting. Right now, we'll do a further video on how to analyze biotechs. They are their own animal. So right now, anything biotech, pretty much drug manufacturers. Right now, there's discussions in Congress about price controls on drugs. So again, there may be some exceptions, but right now I'm just kind of scanning past those. OSAT is one satellite company that some other traders are interested in. Again, not something I'm watching right now, but if it comes down to a nice support, might be something to look into. Neptune Wellness is one that we're currently holding a bag on. It's a medical cannabis play. Again, we've had a long position there. We're holding the bag on Neptune Wellness. Pretty much any, as we mentioned, we've excluded any Chinese, Hong Kong stocks just due to the regulatory issues there. So again, I just skip over those. Some other interesting things to note is some of the ETFs. Here we're seeing the semiconductor is turning down a little bit. The short Russell turned up a little bit. Just some trend drip. This is a short on oil turned up, which means the oil prices are betting is going down. Some interesting themes to take note of in some of these lists. Again, UVXY. Tom Z is one that we had on our watch list, and then it kind of jumped around a little bit. We might look at Tom Z again around 181. They do Hospital sterilization robots, they have earnings on the 16th. Again, we'll make another video about considerations for earnings, how to play earnings, but it's important to know when the next earnings report is coming out, and what kind of expectations there may be for earnings, what impact that may have on the price. It's important to know. And DSS is another one that we're holding a bag on right now. You can see it had a major gap down at one point, bottomed a little bit, and then it's trailed off a little bit. We're waiting for a pop and hoping for an eventual gap fill back into that where it dropped, where it gapped down. It does have a tendency to spike on occasion, so we're holding out for a pop in DSS. And again, something to look at some of these is it's potentially profitable because it has a PE of only 8. So finally, we will look at those that are 0 to 3% above their 52-week low. This list tends to be long, and so initially we'll start alphabetically by industry. You just click the industry column to sort by industry. Quickly scan through. You'll see a lot of biotechs. We're going to spin through the biotechs quickly. Again, biotechs is something that are primarily catalyst and cash burn based, and we'll talk about that in more detail in a future video. Desktop Metals is a popular 3D printing company. They recently had earnings that were not stellar. However, they also announced that they're buying X1, which is another large 3D printing company. However, you can see the stock's trending down. It's a recent SPAC that de-SPAC'd. It's interesting. I like the technology, but I'd like to see some longer term performance, see what kind of cycles it goes through before I jump into Desktop Metals. Jupiter Wellness is again another one that we've looked at in the past, we've traded in the past. They recently did a public offering at $279, and therefore the plummet. Fortunately, we weren't in at that time. We'd gotten out before that. That offering closed on July 26th, but it's still trailing down. So something to watch when it eventually bottoms again. It does have warrants out at that $279 price. So again, when it bottoms and turns up, that might be something of interest going forward. All these education and training, primarily China. Again, that sector really got hit when the Chinese announced that they couldn't be for-profit companies, and they all have to go essentially non-profit or NGOs. So again, a topic I just ignore at this time. Here's one that's already on our watch list. It's electrical equipment, kind of an infrastructure play. It's a low float. It's already on the watch list. You can see it jumps up and down. We're waiting for a good price around $14.49, and then we'll look to buy ESP. Here's one I'm going to add to the watch list this week, OESX. It's another electrical equipment play, infrastructure, LEDs, but they also do COVID disinfection. And it has a nice multiple bottom on a longer term time frame around 470. So we can see here it bottomed at around 470. It's approaching that bottom again around 470. In a minute we'll look at it in the watch list in Webull, but OESX is one that we are adding to the watch list. They just had earnings on the 4th of August. They're profitable. Again, when we're adding to the watch list for this week that we identified using this screener. Once we've screened, you'll see a lot of gold miners. We own several small gold miners like PZG right now. Gold had bottomed. It's now making a recovery. If you want to own gold, if you want to play the bounce in gold, as I've mentioned, we are long GLDI already. That's one we would recommend, as it also pays a monthly dividend, and you're not as vulnerable to the single stock risk of the particular miner having an issue at their particular mine. Another way to play the junior gold miners is GNUG. It's another ETF that's bullish long on gold. So if you want to play gold, you might want to look at GLDI or GNUG ETFs versus the individual gold miners. However, like I said, we do have play in several of the individual gold miners right now. So some of the internet stocks, we're going to quickly jump through. FONR happens to be a medical device we're kind of watching because it's profitable, not adding to the watch list right this second. More metals, gold miners. Eventually we'll get down to the where it hits shell companies, and then I don't look at any of the shell companies, so I'm just going to then resort the industry. Digital Allies, when we also are holding a bag, it's a body camera play, and it has a tendency to spike on riots, police issues, things like that. So we're holding some stock in that on a spike in due to any kind of unrest. But another one in this list that I looked at briefly was Pixie Shift. However, it just the theme seems pertinent, since there's a disconnect with employment, job openings, and people unemployed. They don't seem to be matching up, and therefore shift work sounded like that might be a reasonable theme to play. However, Pixie Shift doesn't seem to be doing too well. It keeps trending down. They're losing money. Seems like they're not playing that opportunity very well right now, so it's not something I'm going to look at. Again, there isn't a whole lot else right here. And then we hit shell companies again. So just wanted to briefly show you how you can use the FinViz screener to screen for various stocks to add to your watch list on a daily basis. These are the three screeners I use on a regular basis to add to the watch list. You can see how you can change some of the criteria to fit your trading style and needs. Then if you just copy the URL, paste it somewhere, you can just copy paste it back into your browser to use on a daily basis without having to reset the criteria, etc. So I hope this all helps. Again, there's our link to FinViz in the description box below. If you have any questions, comments about how to use this FinViz screener for adding stocks to your weekly game plan watch list, please put them in the comments section below, and we'll do our best to help you out in these regards. Next, we'll look at the stocks actually on our watch list for this week in Webull. Okay, now let's look at the individual stocks we currently have on our watch list for Monday, August 16th. We have a pretty short watch list. Couldn't find a whole lot of things that look like good buys at a support or bottom level. Markets are running kind of high. We will continuously reevaluate potential opportunities as the week goes on, and we will add to our watch list or remove things that no longer look like good buys as the week progresses. If you are watching and keep up with the comments in this week's game plan, we'll try to post in the comments either positions that we take or stocks that we add to the watch list. So again, if you keep up with the comments for the game plan for this week, you can see things that we add to the watch list and positions we take. You can see last week we took longs in UVXY. We added Grow Generation to the watch list, which you'll see in this week's watch list. We went long FTech, long Quick, long TRT, and long VJet 3D printing. So most of those were on our watch list from the game plan from last week, with the exception of Grow Generation, which we're adding to the watch list due to an irrational drop in earnings that we'll see. And again, if you keep up and keep watching the comments for the game plan for this week, we will try to add as we go forward. Now, we're back in Webull, and again, you can find a link to our Webull in the description box below. Get 2 free stocks. We will show you in a future video how to build a watch list in Webull and how to use the other features of Webull, but for now, if we just go to our watch list or to the stocks tab, we can select the watch list, and then we can just quickly look at the stock charts for each of the stocks on our watch list. ESP, I believe, was on our watch list from last week. It's industrial electrical parts. One of the potential catalysts for ESP is that in the past, recently, they suspended their dividends, and it went down based on that. However, they are profitable, so in the future, if they reinstate their dividends, that's a potential positive catalyst for ESP. Again, we think it's an infrastructure stock, potential positive catalyst. Near the bottom, we're looking at it at $14.49. It's a low float, so it jumps around. We'll take that opportunity when it comes and looks like it's turning back up. As we mentioned, Grow Generation we added to the watch list late last week due to the irrational drop based on earnings. They're a cannabis-related home improvement company. Jim Cramer calls them a picks and shovels play on cannabis. We played them and profited on Grow Generation in the past. The only issue here is it's not sure exactly where the bottom is. We're looking at it around a 1328 level, but we need it to see it establish some some support and then start turning up. It may have achieved that, but maybe not. So keep an eye on Grow Generation. Wait for a nice stable support level and a turn up. We mentioned in the Finviz screener video that we found OESX. It's another electrical parts play with a COVID disinfection theme as well. We're looking at them around a 470 level. It's a double bottom, long-term double bottom support level. Looks like it may have made a nice tweezer at the end of Friday, so maybe a good opportunity with OESX. RKDA is an agricultural chemical play. We added to the watch list, I believe, last week. We're looking at it around a 226 level. It went up a little bit, so we're just keeping an eye, waiting it to come down for a good buying opportunity on RKDA. EVPR is a Canadian solar or UK solar play, semiconductor solar play. A lot of trend, a lot of focus on solar and solar energy, EVs, etc. in Europe. This is one that had not run up on the recent hype in solar, so we think there's an opportunity here in the $6 range if it forms a nice bottom and turns up there for a solar theme. WWR is one we really like. We've played a number of times. It's a graphite miner. It's US based, so it has some supply chain, US based supply chain, and graphite is a major input in EV batteries. They're just starting a mining operation in, I believe it's Alabama. It's kind of volatile, so it cycles down in the 4 range and then back up, and occasionally spikes up into the 6-7 range. So when it comes down and forms a bottom somewhere 4-ish, 380-ish, we'll probably go long again. WWR, play it up to a peak, sell, play it again. So WWR is a nice scalping play. It can be volatile, can spike quickly. Keep an eye for a nice bottom on WWR. Again, this is what's on our watch list for Monday, August 16th. We will reevaluate on a daily basis, add and subtract to the watch list. Keep an eye on the comments for the game plan for this week. Again, this is Webull. You can find a link in the description box below. Please keep an eye on Webull, and that's our game plan for this week right now. Again, we will constantly be reevaluating what's going on in the markets on a daily basis, adapting, changing our game plan as needed. Please help us help you. Tell us, what do you like about these game plans? What would you like to see more or less in? What else can we do to help you form your game plan for your trading? We have a lot of potential content that we would like to be able to add as soon as possible, but you can help us prioritize what do we do first. So we hope that you'll like this game plan video. We hope you'll subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified of new content, and please let us know in the comments below what you think. How can we help you? Good luck, fellow BeachBum traders, and have a great trading week. Bye. We hope that you like our weekly game plan for the trading week for this week. Thank you for watching the video to the end. If you found this helpful, we hope that you will choose to subscribe to our BeachBum Trading YouTube channel, and please click the bell icon below to automatically be notified whenever we publish a new video. Please also share this with your fellow traders and friends via the share button included below. And let us know if you found our weekly game plans helpful in the comments included below. And let us know how we can improve. What would you like to see more, less of, etc. Thank you again for watching. Good luck and have a great trading week.